The Upshot's coverage of the USDGC and Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship is brought to you by Skybreed Discs. Go to skybreeddiscs.com for all your disc golf needs. Free shipping on orders over $50. Cheap flat rate shipping on orders under that point. They have a huge selection of discs and apparel and accessories. It's just a one-stop shop for all things disc golf. skybreeddiscs.com. Welcome to a live edition of the Upshot podcast. I'm Charlie Eisenhood, publisher of Ultiworld Disc Golf, joined by Josh Mansfield. I am in Rock Hill, South Carolina, just about maybe 5-10 minutes away from the Winthrop Arena, which I have to say is a really great name for your disc golf course, to call it an arena. And we have round one of the USDGC and the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championships in the books. And what a day one it was. The rain held off. The sun came out. Scoring conditions were quite good, but there was also wind to keep things interesting. And we got a chance to just sit down and digest, what is always like an interesting thing. 4-round tournament. Round one matters, but it's not the be-all, end-all. You got to put yourself in a position, Josh. But you can lose it on day one, but you can't win it on day one. Isn't that what they say? So, Josh, first of all, hello. I hope you had a chance to enjoy some of the show today. And I'm just curious for your initial thoughts after what we've seen today.
I think that my number one picks are out the door. Day one, there's no chance. It's over. Yeah. What happened, man? Calvin Heimberg. What happened to him?
Honestly, God, I don't even know where he finished today. Give me the stats.
73rd.
But
73rd
what's
plus 3.
Yikes.
3 over par. Yep.
I have to say, I find that very surprising. I feel like he's someone who actually tends to play pretty well in the wind.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
he's an example of somebody who probably lost it on day one.
I really think so. I mean, he has a mess of bogeys on his card. Yeah, and then Katrina Allen. I guess this is the first question I want to ask is, do you think Katrina Allen is out of it? Katrina Allen right now, 15th, 5 over par. Paige Pierce, 7 under.
Do I think she's out of it? I do. I
think so too.
Because of Paige. I mean, I asked somebody today, when everyone in FPO blew up on 17 except Paige, there were a bunch of players right next to her. Valerie Mondahano was right there. Sarah Hokum was there. Missy Gannon was there. And they all taken bogeys or worse. And you come out of the round, which was looking like it was going to be pretty interesting and tight at the top, and it's a Paige Pierce 5-stroke lead. It's like, all right, well, I mean, it's not over. I of course I would never say that after one round, but for Katrina to make up that much ground, I don't know if I see it. I just think you have to count on Paige to make huge mistakes. It's possible at Winthrop, but the way that she played out here last year, I don't see it. I think you need to be under par today.
And I think you're right, and I think Sarah Hokum's got a chance.
Before we go further, let's just break things down really quick. So for people who are just kind of checking in, maybe they didn't buy the live broadcast. Paige Pierce has a lead in the Throw Pink tournament. She's a 7 under. Mm-hmm. Valerie Mondahano and Heather Young are tied at 2 under in second place. Sarah Hokum is at even par, so she's 7 shots back. And then you have 3 players: Missy Gannon, Alex Benson, and Macy Villa-Diaz at 1 over par. Over on the USDGC side, a little bit more bunched scoring up at the top of the leaderboard. You've got Nate Sexton and Terry Roethlisberger tied at 10 under par, the only 2 double-digit scores of the day. Bogey-free for both of them. And Greg Barsby in third place at 9 under. He's also bogey-free. That was the big story today, dodging the bogeys. I mean, everybody was getting birdies. Everybody. But the players who caught 2, 3, 4 bogeys, ended up falling down the leaderboard a little bit. I mean, look at Garrett Gerthy's scorecard. He's got 8 birdies and an eagle, but he also had 5 bogeys. So that was painful. Joel Freeman in fourth place at 8 under par. And then how about this? How about this tie for 5th? This is your chase card on day 2. Okay, this is your chase card. Barry Schultz, Johnny McRae, Adam Hammis, and the 16-year-old Evan Scott. Okay, so we have legitimately some of the oldest players at the tournament. Maybe the oldest player. I have not gone through the whole registration list to try to figure this out, but probably Barry Schultz is the oldest player here. And then you have 16-year-old Evan Scott, who qualified for this tournament last year at Monday qualifying, and now is in the tournament because he's the amateur world champion this year. By the way, he shot a 2 under in the first round last year. This year, he turns around and shoots a 7 under. He's going to be on the chase card. I mean, whoa. We talked about a little bit about this guy, but that is an insane card. Think about it. That's the chase card. You have 2 people who are under 23 years old, and you have 2 legends of the game who know what it takes out here. I mean, Barry Schultz, literally every time he plays his tournament, pretty much, except I think last year.
No, he played last
year.
He's in
the top 25. No. But he.
Oh, okay. Got it. I see what you're saying. Yep.
And here he is in the hunt for the tournament. I mean, wow. This is wild.
It really, I mean, I think you even have to look at Nate Sexton and Greg Barsby. They're not as old when you look at Barry Schultz and Johnny McRae, but those are household names of the top 5 leaderboards 3, 4, 5 years ago. Those 2 haven't been making quite as much of a splash recently, and here they are again. I mean, this is the MPO side is exciting this weekend, and you still have Paul McBeth is in 9th. He's at 6 under. Chris Dickerson's at 6 under as well, tied at 9th. You got Andrew Marweed in there as well. Eagle McMahon is at 5 under at 17th, along with James Conrad. So nobody but my pick, Calvin, decided to throw out the tournament. They're still in it, and so I wouldn't say it's in any way, shape, or form these 8 guys and nobody else, but it's still exciting to see after round 1. And I think there's a lot of potential for some excitement going into later rounds.
I mean, it really felt just like the great thing about this course, people spend a lot of time complaining about this course, but the great thing about this course is that, number one, you know what you're going to get every year. There's something that's really nice about that. And it's a major. So it's not I don't know. Think of other courses that you see every year, but maybe you don't fully remember them. For me, Idlewild. I don't know. I know some of the holes on Idlewild, but I don't know them all. But this course, I honestly can probably go 1 to 18 and visualize every hole. I've walked the course a bunch. It's a major, so you're paying attention to this course, and the tweaks are small, and it demands such precision. The difference between excellence and disaster is often extremely small. How about Evan Scott on the big downhill shot? You got to come in with the elevated basket, and now I of course I won't remember the whole number. I think it's 14. And it demands such a precise tee shot, because to get a birdie you have to be close because of the elevated basket. There's danger all around. You're coming in with the hyzer backhand. I mean, I actually think the forehand is probably the safer, easier play. And if you don't have the speed control right, you're going to either be way, way short or you're going to be out of bounds. And that describes how many holes out here. And so when you watch Paul McBeth step up on 18 and throw his approach that he's made so many times look so effortless, and he just puts a little too much gas on it, and it ends up OB by 3-4 inches. And, it's those mistakes that separate the winners from the also-rans at this tournament every single year. And I think that's very interesting. It's very different than a lot of the golf that we see during the season.
And there's a lot of criticism sometimes about the unfairness or the randomness of being those 3 inches difference. But, one of the drills that I often think of that I hear a lot from a lot of different people is go out to a field, put a basket or pick a mark, and then throw up shots from 200 feet and then try and get within circle 1. If you do that, that doesn't guarantee things here at Winthrop. Like if you go out and you're throwing and it's like, oh, just get inside circle one, inside a 33-foot radius, a 10-meter radius, there are areas that you're still going to be punished for that. On the 999 hole, for example, that bottleneck on your second shot is less than that width. Like you don't get a 10-meter landing zone, you get a 5-meter landing zone. And so it is a level of precision that I don't think a lot of players, both amateur or pro, really are demanded of in other courses like you've talked about, or it's a skill necessarily that they always focus on or prioritize in their practice. Because the margin of error at Winthrop is smaller. That's just, I think, plain and simple. That's the best way to look at it. And so you have to come in with the mindset of playing with a smaller margin of error, be comfortable with that smaller margin of error, and meet that kind of the demands of that pressure in order to stay in bounds and perform well.
Can we just say shout out to Nate Sexton? I mean, this dude like doesn't play for months at a time and then shows up at Worlds and USDGC and is like, I'm going to shoot the hot round in round one. Here he is again, forearm championships, and he was a beast today. But he didn't play, and he even said this in his post game. He didn't play out of his mind. He just didn't make mistakes. He didn't miss putts inside the circle, but he went 0 for 5 from circle 2. And, didn't make every green. But when you're getting birdies and you're making your putts and you're just being consistent and you're not taking any bogeys, you're going to shoot a good round out here. And here he is at a tournament that he has won where he's going to have a lot of confidence. Had the terrible last-minute injury last year. It kept him out. It's incredible to see him step up here and continue to put the pressure on the top players in the world. I mean, and it just goes to show you, he is one of those guys. It's easy to forget because he hasn't been on tour as much, but on a course that doesn't demand ultra distance, Nate Sexton is still a threat to win every time. And, I have to think you make him the leader right now, right? And not on the leaderboard, obviously. He has a tie for the lead. I'm saying he's the favorite now going into the rest of this event. He has to be.
I think you're right there. And that's because, when you look down the rest of the top 8, for example, if any of the other 7 won, it would be the craziest storyline.
Monumental.
It would. It's bigger than James Conrad's Worlds win. I think it's bigger than James Conrad's USDGC win. For any of the other 7 guys,
topping James Conrad's Worlds win anytime soon. But
all right. But that's just because the reason.
I can't believe that person won.
Yes, that for that reason, not in the way that they do it. If they found a way to do it, what if they ace 17 and that's how they win? That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, Nate Sexton stands alone in those 8. That it would be. This man is a disc golf legend who is still around to play, even if it only is at the majors. Like his schedule may look like 4 tournaments for every year from now on. And every one of those tournaments, you have to consider putting him in your top 5. I actually think that the demands of this course feel like they're setting up for the kind of players that Worlds did as well, right? Neither course at Worlds really demanded a lot of distance. But they created different shots. They had the woods of the fort. They also had Mulligan's that was a golf course that didn't demand the same kind of distance that golf courses typically do. And now you have Winthrop that feels like a little bit of a blend between those. Looks like I got some comments, some heat about Greg Barsby being the world champion, and so that's a little different. Like Greg should be in that class as well. That's a fair argument, I think, but I don't know. Like, I think Nate Sexton winning this tournament, like if you asked me, if you said you have to pick Nate or Greg to win this tournament going into this week, I would have picked Nate over Greg 10 times out of 10. So 100%. That's, you do. And so, and that's not to say that Greg isn't, and if we're talking about, Barry Schultz is a 3-time winner of this tournament. There are people with some pedigrees on this.
It's not like these are not amazing players with amazing legacies, and
right.
I love Greg Barsby, but I think most people would admit that like he somehow captured lightning in a bottle that one time for that one Worlds and won the tournament, and like he'll probably never win another major. I mean, I don't think that's disrespectful to the guy. But you know what? Here he is in the mix after round one. You only got to do it 4 times. Can you do it 4 times in a row? How about this? I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the leaderboard and I see Simon Lizotte, and we get a couple glimpses of him on the live broadcast, and I'm like, wow, what if Simon comes out here and wins this tournament after all of the struggles that he's gone through with the injuries, and then he proceeds to blow himself up on 17, and it's like, man, that guy can't get out of his own way. I mean, still shot a good round overall, but I mean, when you look at the top 8, I don't think there's any question. Like, if Adam Hammes won, it would be like, okay, welcome to the ascension to the elite tier, Adam Hammes, but it would still be, I think, a little bit of a surprise at least. I mean,
I agree.
He clearly has the skills amongst that top group right now of the lead and chase that can absolutely win. But I think you could say that about most of these guys. Like, people are going to start calling for Evan Scott to fall off because he's 16 and he hasn't done it. But you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if he shot 7 or 8 down every single round. This kid is special, folks.
That would be the coolest storyline.
If he win, no, he won't win. But it would.
I don't think so either. But could you imagine?
It would be insane.
It would.
So let's talk about some other folks here. First of all, there were so many people who came out and got like 6 of the first 6 or 7, right? So like a lot of very hot starts. Brody Smith had a super hot start. I mean, you can just go down the leaderboard and see like players. Joel Freeman got 6 of 6. He ended up at just 2 strokes off the lead. Macbeth got 6 of the first 7. And Macbeth, boy, it looked like he was about to just be on a crazy heater and like take the lead, and then just made a few mistakes in the back, and it's just like that. It can get away from you quick out here. But the scoring conditions seem surprisingly good. I kind of wonder if the new hole 1 feels like it's very gettable, and a lot of the players got it. But I mean, it also wasn't the easiest hole out there, so I think it's just the more scoreable part of the course. And really it was like, what did you do when you got to the wind along that back stretch, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? How did you handle the wind and the changing direction that you were dealing with that wind? And I feel like that was the separator today for a lot of players.
Yeah. And I shout out real quick. We were talking about hole 1 and the scoreability. Shout out to Austin Hannum hitting the ace on hole 1.
And literally nobody filmed it. Do you know how many cameras are at this tournament, Josh? There's
a lot of them.
You walk and you're like, oh, I just tripped over a camera. Like, there's a lot of cameras, and somehow there was no cameras there. But tomorrow, I know that there will be a camera that is going to be fixed on hole 1 at all times. So we will have that if it happens again.
Okay, all right. Okay. I think that, I mean, if you look 17 and 18, let's pull it up. Let's pull up the course stats real quick for the there we go. Okay, hole 17.
Hardest hole in the course, can you guess?
Yeah, I just pulled it's hole 17, Charlie.
It's not. It's not. It's 18.
Oh, it is 18 it is by 100th of a point.
Yeah.
But I mean, so what you're telling me is that a headwind makes hole 17 and 18 hard. Like, shut up! I don't believe you. At hole 18, it looks like there were more birdies by a little bit, but also more bogeys. Not as many doubles, and they're but comparable. Anyway, 17 and 18 are both hard. That's moral of the story here. They both played over par. And they really looks like hole 11 is the other one that really played over par. The course, I think you're right that it was good scoring conditions, but I'm surprised. I'd have to go back and look, but 17 and 18 really felt like kind of the demise of some players' rounds a little earlier than I think I was used to seeing. I mean, yeah. I'm used to that. By round 3, like moving day, when people are really pushing. But I mean, like you said, Simon Lizotte, he went 5 over in 6 through 16 through 18.
Brutal.
Right. Barry Schultz had a clean round except for 17 when he just like missed the island because he threw and he was trying to play safe. He's trying to play safe and missed the island because he said in his post round interview, the wind just got in my head. Joel Freeman shot 8 under with 3 bogey strokes, had a double and a single bogey. They had a great round.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stories to follow. I'm excited to see the top players tomorrow. Some faces we haven't seen on a live broadcast in a very long time. Here, let me tell you why Adam Hammes is arguably the front runner after I just told you that Nate Sexton was the front runner. Adam Hammes today, he leads the tournament in strokes gained from tee to green. But he was a negative 2.25 on the putting green. He was 57% from C1X, and he was 0 in circle 2. Okay? Now, he still managed to go out there and shoot a 7 under. Now, of course, there's 2 ways you could look at this. One way is he has no confidence in his putter, and he can't possibly win because he's playing poorly on the putting green. But the other way to look at it is to say he's going to regress to the mean. He's not going to putt this badly every round. He's not going to miss 3 putts inside the circle and go 0 for 4 from circle 2. And given the way that he was playing off the tee, he's going to put himself in great position. So I'm excited to see how this all unfolds as we move along in this tournament. And I think the changing conditions are going to be interesting. We may have thunderstorms tomorrow that obviously we could have some rain. Thunderstorms could cause a pause in play, and that's going to challenge players mentally. You get warmed up, you start out there, then hole 3, they blow the horn, and you got to go inside for 45 minutes. That's challenging to deal with. So that's going to be something to follow along with as well. I do not expect conditions to remain this positive for scoring. And you remember what happened last year when we had crazy, very difficult conditions with the rain for the final round of the USDGC.
Adam Hammes missed 17 circle 1 putts. And granted, hole 18, I think he was laying up at least one of those because you do on hole 18. But I think you're right. I really buy that he is not going to putt that bad because Adam Hammes is not a bad putter.
What did you just say? He missed 17 circle 1 putts?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Look.
No. You must be misreading the thing. They don't bold them. They don't bold the ones when you're not putting from if you're inside 15 feet.
Oh, got it. So those are the throws he did inside 15.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, if the man missed 17 circle 1 putts, I don't think he'd be at 7 under.
I think you're right. You're right. I said that, and I was like, hold on, I'm very wrong. I'm reading this wrong. I'm glad I said that so you could help me with that, Charlie, because I've always read that wrong. Okay.
Yeah. So when it's not bolded and it's a 1, it means when it's inside the circle, when it's circle 1X, it means that it was inside of that 3.3 meter mark.
Got it.
So, yes, that is
okay. All right. Yeah.
Anyway,
okay, gotcha.
Let's talk about some of the big names that are not at the top because we've got, Terry Roethlisberger and Joel Freeman. I mean, Barsby, we mentioned. Barry Schultz, Johnny McRae, Evan Scott. Who are these players, right? These are not the players we expected to see up at the top of the leaderboard. Macbeth is at 6. Dickerson is at 6. So they're not far off the pace. James Conrad and Garrett Gerthy are at 5. So is Eagle and Ricky. These are okay rounds, right? Not amazing, but not bad. Simon Lizotte ended up still finishing at 4 under, which is pretty amazing considering that, as you said, he went 5 over, no more, because it was a par 3. So that's 3, 4. Yeah, no, that's right. 5 over in the last 3 holes. And who else we got? I mean, you already mentioned Calvin kind of playing himself out of it. Brody Smith, 3 under after a nice little start for him. 5 birdies in the first 6. And Kyle Klein, somebody I expected to play a little bit better. He got bit by the bogeys as well. He took a 5 on 17 and ended up taking 3 bogeys as well. Didn't score enough in the first part of the course. So a lot of the big names, Kevin Jones only at 1 under. They got work to do.
So here's my question for you, Charlie. You have to create your own cutoff Who is out of this tournament? Where do you have to be right now where you're out of the tournament?
What is the cutoff in terms of score?
So Kevin Jones is at 1 under. Is he out?
You're still in it. You're still in it.
You're still in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think.
Do you think?
I
you
think
even
you can
still
make
in
up
it?
a few. You can make that up. I think.
Okay.
I think even for me is about where I'd say.
Okay.
I mean, if
so
somebody,
you think
the thing is, you can imagine if somebody has an electric round tomorrow. Let's say they're at 2 over, and they shoot a 12. Now they're at 10. That's not going to get them all the way back, but it might be. The leaders might be at like 18 tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So like you've bitten off a piece. But I do think even par is probably where I'd set the number.
Winning score last year was 30 under. That was Chris Dickerson's
and that was with a
score.
crazy, challenging final round. So scoring was down a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, I would expect probably a little better.
But
than
we
that
talked.
this year.
You just talked about weather. You just talked about weather may be a factor for a couple rounds now.
Dumping buckets like it was last year. I don't know about that. Johnny V says that 3 or worse is out. -3 or worse.
3.
I mean,
okay.
Maybe the argument for that, of course, is that there's so many players who are better than you, including some of the big names who are going to make a push. You know that it's not possible to catch all of them. But I still think that you're still in the hunt if you shot even today. But you're going to have to go and do some work tomorrow.
Yeah, I think tomorrow is the moving day for anybody. I think with what Johnny V said, I think anybody who is 3 under or worse, tomorrow is your moving day. If you are not back up in double digits at least, then your tournament's probably done.
I think that's right. I think you got to be in the doubles.
I think tomorrow is doubles for sure.
So
go ahead.
Who's the most surprising strong finisher of the day? I think it's fair to say Calvin Heimberg is the most surprising weak finisher today, but who's the most surprising strong finisher in your mind?
It's got to be Terry Roethlisberger.
I think it has to be, right?
It's got to be, because then if you go past Nate Sexton, yep, got it. I think Evan Scott is another fair answer here. Paul in the chat just said Evan Scott. I can buy that. I think either of those are compelling arguments because the other 6 of those top 8 all have reputations and names behind them for whatever reason, right? Nate Sexton, previous winner of the tournament. Greg Barsby, world's winner. Barry Schultz, enough said. Johnny McRae, the ageless wonder, right? There are reasons why we expected or can understand at least in some level why these guys are doing
and
so
Joel
well.
Freeman has been playing really well lately.
Right, exactly. And then Adam Hammes, obviously, with 2 wins this season. I think either Evan Scott or Terry Roethlisberger are your argument. And the fact that Terry Roethlisberger is at the top, just it's awesome. It's good for him.
Let me give you
exciting.
a stat. Let me give you a stat about Terry Roethlisberger. His first time finishing this season inside the top 10 at an Elite Series event was 2 weeks ago at the Music City Open when he finished tied for 10th. He had a couple top 10s on Silver Series. Remember, he was second at Clash of the Canyons.
Okay.
But I think he caught fire at the right time, Josh. He was 96th at Green Mountain. He was 116th at MVP. And then it's like, all right, let's kind of get back out into some shot shaping. It's not crazy. Think about the courses at Music City. It's not that crazy different than the demands that Winthrop puts in front of you. So he finishes top 10 at Music City, and now here he is tied for first at USDGC. For me, that's the bigger surprise. I think a lot of people are going to be like, wow, Evan Scott, 16 years old. Oh my gosh. But the kid shot a 2 under last year in round 1.
Yeah.
It was a good round. Mm-hmm. And he's just young, but he's really good. Not to say Terry Roethlisberger is not good, but I don't think anybody in the whole world ever, I always ask this, did anybody pick him in their grip 6, pick 6? I'm going to guess no for Terry Roethlisberger. I guess no last time, and there were 10 people. So there's always somebody, I guess. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. From 3D modeling to technical materials, Pound utilizes current technology to push product development beyond the current boundaries. But fancy software and high-tech materials mean nothing if you're not part of the actual building and testing of the bags. From the initial sketch to pattern sets, Pound cuts the materials and sews the prototypes together, ensuring that design and materials come together to achieve their ultimate goal, performing for players under all conditions. Check out the options at pounddiscgolf.com. Touring disc golf professionals understand the need to stay focused on their game plan during rounds. When they're focused, they're confident. And when they're confident, performance peaks. This is why so many touring pros wear Diameter apparel. Simply put, Diameter apparel is really, really comfortable, allowing players to stay focused on their game. Diameter apparel also happens to look amazing. Order online or find currently released designs at your local disc golf store. TDs and event coordinators are talking about how popular custom event and trophy jerseys are. Breathable, durable, beautiful, Diameter apparel. Paige Pierce, 5-shot lead. Okay, so who's still in the hunt? Who's still in the hunt? Give me your players that are still in the hunt. Let's not even go with a scorecard here.
Not even with a score. Okay, all right. I'll give it to you. Valerie Mondahanu. She had a good round and really got beat by 17. That can happen to anybody, including Paige, and I think that she can fix that. I think Valerie is very much still in the hunt. I think Heather Young is in the hunt if this gap does not get bigger tomorrow. If Paige's lead grows on Heather to any more than 5 strokes, I think it's Heather's out.
It's a wrap.
Because Heather's skill set is not a fiery charge on moving day. Heather's skill set is the slow and steady that will just wear you down while you make mistakes. So she has to stay in scoring distance, though, for that to be effective. So Heather, I don't think Heather is out yet, but Johnny V says that 8 out of 100 people picked Roethlisberger. Or Roethlis, picked Terry.
But on Skip Ace. Well,
right,
shout out to that's deep value right there. That's very deep value. Because they have a salary cap, so that's a different story altogether. You're not just picking the 6 players you think are going to finish at the top.
Right.
Somebody did their homework. They were like,
yeah, they did.
Look, Terry Roethlisberger just shot. He was top 10 in Music City. I'm gonna take that snipe pick right there.
Anyway, sorry. Back to the FPO. So Heather Young is in it if she doesn't the lead doesn't stretch tomorrow. Sarah Hokum is absolutely in it, in my opinion. I know she's 7 strokes back. I think she can play better tomorrow, and I think that Paige can possibly play worse. Like, I think we've seen Paige have
played amazing
rounds
today.
She did. She played lights out. Do we know what the round got rated at?
I'm checking right now. It was very, very good. It was 10-27.
Jeez. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just put this in perspective. Valerie Mondahanu and Heather Young both shot 993 rated 2 unders. 993. Okay.
That's
maybe not a life-changing round, but a very good round. And Paige was like, I'm going to shoot 5 strokes better than that. I mean, 10-27. Like, if she does this 2 or 3 more, obviously 3 more times. If she does this 1 or 2 more times, it's over. It's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's an argument to be made, though, that it won't happen 2 or 3 more times. Like, especially with weather, but I think Sarah Hokum's still in it. I think Missy Gannon is still in it, but tomorrow is her moving day as well. She's kind of with the Heather Young thing. I think she's got to get closer.
Missy Gannon 8 strokes back right now. She had some birdies, though.
She did. And then here it is. My last person that I think is still in it, Haley King.
Yeah.
Because if anybody can shoot 3 10-50 rounds in the next, okay, maybe not 10-50, but if anybody's going to match that when Paige falls off, it's going to be Haley. Who still has a chance? Don't get me wrong, Katrina probably could do it, but I think you're right that Katrina's too far gone.
Katrina's at 5 over. I mean, I just don't think it's possible. I just don't think it's possible. She took 7 on hole 13. I mean, even if I think, the thing for her is like she should fight to get back into second place. Like I just honestly, unless Paige decides to not show up for at least 2 of these 3 final rounds, I just don't see it. I don't think there's a possibility. But I gotta say, Valerie Mondahano was right there.
Yes.
She was,
and she could be right there again tomorrow.
She was at 3, and then after 15, she was at 5 under.
Yeah.
And Paige, I think, was at 6 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, here we go down the stretch, 17, and then Valerie takes the 6. Boom. Right, that's it. So you just clean that up. You stay committed. You make a couple more putts. She missed 3 circle 1 putts today and only hit 1 of 7 from circle 2. Got to hit a couple more putts, and you just narrow the gap, right? You just narrow the gap. You don't have to try to get it all back in one round. You just want it to be 4 or less after 2. Even if you're still sitting 5 back, fine, but don't let the gap get any bigger. You can't let the gap get bigger.
If Valerie plays exactly like she did today, but doesn't blow up 17 and plays like that for the other 3 rounds, that I think could be good enough to win it.
Absolutely a chance to win. 100%.
Like without a doubt. Here's my question for you, Charlie. Going into final round, where do the other people have to be in order to catch Paige? At what point do you think the margin is too big?
There's always 17.
That's true.
I think too big to have a chance is 7 strokes.
7 strokes.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't think Paige could blow a 7? Paige could keep a 7-stroke lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's going to be able to play conservative. She's going to be able to just. There's a lot of margin for error at that point.
Yeah.
But if it's 5, she's probably going to win. She's going to win 95% of the time, but there's that time when a couple OBs go wrong. I mean, Owen Scoggins took a 10 today. She took a 10 on hole 5. She went in the water on her approach to get ready to go across the water, and then went into the water twice again, and then had to basically just hope that she could make it on the next shot, and it like snuck through, and then she had to lay up and then put it in, and like otherwise had a really solid round. Very Owen Scoggins like. Yeah. Almost no other bogeys. I think she had 2 birdies, and just destroyed her chances in this tournament by taking a 10. But I mean, that's what can happen out there. And now that particular hole, I think, is specifically challenging for Owen Scoggins because you have to make this difficult far water carry, and that's obviously not her strength. Paige Pierce is never going to take a 10 on that hole, but there are plenty of holes where it is easy to make a couple mistakes. 17 highest among them, and I think because the FPO rules on the OB are a little different, you can't take the huge number on 17. You
still take a 6 though.
You need to be 2 to 3 strokes going into 17 to feel like you could catch somebody.
Yeah.
In MPO, it's 5.
Very easily 5. And 18, I think between 17 and 18, that could be 4 strokes. If not 5. Probably 5. I'm going to say 5 strokes.
It's possible. It's possible.
On FPO side, it is possible to be 5 strokes. If it's in bad conditions and the leader gets rattled, 5 strokes is not out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, it's really easy to go out of bounds twice on 18. Mm-hmm. You roll down the hill and go out of bounds left, and then you're like, oh, God, I really need to make this upshot. And then you throw up the hill and you go out of bounds again. Either you go too short, you end up OB on the corner, or you can go too long and end up OB by the tree on the far side of the green. Super easy. So
very easy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what to expect. The leaderboard is so scrambled in MPO that it's like, okay, like, do I just think that, Macbeth and Dickerson and Ricky and Eagle are going to climb up the leaderboard and like by round 3, it's going to be those guys? I mean, right now we got a whole different group at the top. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to feel very fresh and interesting. By the way, how was the live coverage? What was your experience? We got a bunch of emails. A lot of people saying, I'm not buying it.
Yep.
And but I think talk is cheap.
I think so. I was in the car for literally all day. Not driving, mind you. I was in the passenger seat in the car all day and just had it up on my phone. And it was really like kind of skippy for me. It would like lag and skip up a little bit and catch up. And I don't know if that was my service.
It's a phone thing.
It's phone thing. Okay. So that was my service. All right.
Yeah. I don't know if it was your service or if it's specifically the app on the phone does that weird thing.
Okay. There have been tournaments I know where there was a complaint about that kind of laggy skipping, and so I wasn't sure if that was something that was to me alone. I thought the coverage was good. I've enjoyed it. I think that it feels a little bit. It feels like a step above of what the Disc Golf Network typically is. The jury is still out if it's $25 above what the rest of Disc Golf Network production is yet. So I haven't come to my decision about that. But I think it looks good.
Thousands of people bought the live stream package.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. I mean, there's a lot of complaining, but I think a lot of people, I saw today for the first time, people being like, hey, it's actually pretty good. I thought it looked good.
Yeah. I had so.
There's a lot of people in the production. There's a lot of cameras out there. They've added some elements that I think make it look a little sharper. So, yeah, if this is your way of consuming the tournament, we'll do our best to keep you informed, and you can, I don't know, whatever it is, wait the 30 days until it's available for free. One thing I did want to point out, there is actual post-production happening. Because I saw the post-production teams doing the post-production. It's not just like a condensed version of the live. They're actually cutting full commentated post-produced rounds. But that's, again, only behind the paywall.
That's still behind the paywall. Okay. And does it ever, does it become available after 30 days this time?
I think it's going to be on DGN later or something. I don't know the whole situation.
I think that sounds right. So the post-produced is immediately accessible to those who bought the paywall.
That's right.
And then after 30 days, it is still behind the Disc Golf Network subscriber paywall.
I believe that's correct.
Okay, so if you are not a Disc Golf Network subscriber, you are so out of luck. If you are a Disc Golf Network subscriber, pony up the $20 and enjoy the coverage.
Do you think they want to get your money? Because they want to get your money. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, how would this have been different if people could have like prepaid for it? If it was like at the beginning of the year and you like checked a box to be like, oh yeah, I want to get the USDGC add-on, versus having to pay for it now, where it feels kind of like you got bait and switched. I feel like there's like definitely a psychological element that goes beyond the actual money cost of it. Like, I like to play scratcher lottery tickets because I think it's fun, and I definitely like don't think twice about spending $3 on a scratcher crossword ticket. But then people are like, oh God, $20 on this live coverage. I could never do it. It's like, why? It's only $20. It's not that bad.
It's because Charlie, right?
Go ahead.
It's because it's easy to find sports that you're supposed to pay for free right now. And I don't think disc golf has that ability.
Yeah. We know we know we've made it as a sport when people start doing illegal streams, like disc golf streams with a Z.com. And they have like the bootleg version.
Johnny
don't
V in the chat.
By the way, do not do that. Don't use that as an idea. Johnny says there are multiple pirate streams. That doesn't shock me.
I want Jeff Spring to go Dana White on the community and be like, I will send the long arm of the law after anyone who dares pirate this.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's so easy to be like. And I illegally stream stuff. Like I'll stream a Knicks game because I don't have MSG. And it's like, oh, whatever, like they're making plenty of money. But like in disc golf, when you do that, like you're actually hurting people and their ability to like create the content that you want to see. I highly discourage doing that kind of thing. It's really not that much money. If you want to watch it so bad that you're like hunting around to find the illegal stream, just pay. If you don't care, you just want to wait and whatever, then just wait. By the way, we know there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. We're going to get to a lot of other topics that are not USDGC related next week. 2022 schedule just dropped. and the PDGA is hiring a new director of events. This is a pretty big deal. We're going to talk more about it, but not on this show. So anyway, Josh, final thoughts as we head into round 2. What are you looking to see tomorrow?
This is what I want, Charlie. Top 8 lead and chase card. How many of them are on the top 8 after tomorrow?
Ooh, that's a good one.
MPO.
Over under.
Over under. Here we go. Bonus over under. Of those top 8, how many of them do you think are still in the top 8?
Okay. Remaining inside the lead and chase or ties. Ties, right? Mm-hmm. Tied for 8th.
Yeah, ties are fine. Yep, ties are fine. Tied 8 or better.
4.5.
I'll take the under.
So you say 4 or fewer?
Yeah, I think so. The number in my head, I've got 3. I think there are going to be 3 of them.
Donnie says 3. Jesse says 2. Wow.
Savage.
No respect for our wild start here. All right.
So you've got 5.
I almost said 3.5. I almost said 3.5.
I would still take the under if you went 3.5.
Okay, let's move it to 3.5.
Let's move it to 3.5. I think it's a little more fair.
Okay. I got the over. Bonus over under. We're gonna do one every day. Okay. What's Paige Pierce's? We'll do double over under. What's Paige Pierce's lead tomorrow over under? After round tomorrow, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie says 6. Johnny says 8. Jesse says 8.
I think the over/under line should be. Man, I was trying not to look at the comments, Charlie. Now I'm being swayed. I think I think 7.5 is a decent line.
Ooh. So I only need 3 strokes. You know what? I want to believe in Valerie Mondahano, and I'm going to take the under.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to take the under. I think the smart money play is on the over.
Donnie just said take the over with an exclamation point.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our round 1 recap show. Thanks for those of you who tuned in live, staying up late with us. And we're going to enjoy how this tournament plays out. I always like round 1. It's kind of like boxers feeling each other out a little bit. Like, where are we right now? And now it really gets started. Everyone's got a chance to see the course, get the actual feel of it in a round setting, not just in a practice round. And off we go. So, looking forward to it. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night right here on The Upshot.